How's it going, metalheads, and welcome back to another video. This is going to be kind of an interesting video. It's kind of a remake of one I did in my early days of YouTube. It's partly because I didn't really like how I made the video, but partly because I have some additions to the list and some changes to it. But anyway, if you remember a while ago, it's actually one of my more popular, long videos. I posted a video called, I don't know, it was like 10 or 12 or 15 or something like that. Bands I'm not big on, or bands I haven't gotten into, or something like that. Yeah, I just really thought that list was kind of, not really there, and it didn't really express what I was trying to say. And at the end of the video, I said there was, 4 artists that I would walk out if you put them on. And that's not really true. I think I was still really going through my metal elitist phase at that point. Now I'm really, willing to give any music a shot. But yeah, I just really like how I made that video. It was kind of messy, hard to follow. And, I have some additions to the list and stuff now. So yeah, we're going to go over 10 bands. Actually, no, 15 bands. I have 15 on the list here. That, I haven't really gotten into, or I don't really dig that much. And I try to make this list, instead of, the ones I would walk out from last video, if you turn them on. I try to make this list bands that I really would like to get into, and I've tried in the past, but just really didn't vibe with, or haven't really tried to get into yet. I didn't really make this ones I don't dislike. I don't purely dislike any of these bands. I would love to, try to get into them at some point. But yeah, with that being said, let's get started. So the first band on my list is Tool. I'm not a huge prog guy, never really have been. I've sort of been getting into a little bit more progressive death metal lately. But as for prog itself, just haven't really gotten into it. I have a lot of friends that love Tool. They're crazy about Tool. I never really got why somebody would want to listen to, 3 songs in one. It kind of seemed like Tool was 3 songs in one, because the songs are all super long. And, prog, the tempos and stuff change up widely throughout the song. And I never really understood that. And, as I'm getting into more, progressive death metal, all this kind of stuff, maybe I should give them another shot, because, they have some cool riffs here and there. Danny Carey's an awesome drummer. Maynard James Keenan does a lot of cool stuff with other bands. They're nothing against the band. They're awesome musicians and stuff. I just really, I always found it kind of boring and stuff. And, that's just a personal opinion. But I never really got into them, so maybe I should try getting into them. There's a few songs I like here and there. And for most of these bands, that's the case. There's a few songs I've heard, here and there that I kind of dig. But I just haven't really gotten a full deep dive on them yet. So anyway, let's continue down the list. The next band might surprise some people, being the, thrash metal is my first love, Death Angel. I know they're one of the big 8 of thrash metal. I just never really got into them. Like I said, there's a few tracks here and there that I like, but, I just never really did a deep dive. I absolutely love Testament. I love Overkill. I love Metallica, Slayer. Megadeth I'm not so big on. Anthrax I'm not so big on. But yeah, the rest of the big 8, I would say I'm pretty well informed with, but definitely not Death Angel. I don't know a whole lot of their stuff. So yeah, and I feel like a really good way to get to know a band is to go see them live. And so they're coming. They're playing Act 3 in full again on tour. So I'm probably going to go see that show and, just try to get informed with Death Angel. Because, again, a lot of these bands, just like Death Angel, I'd really love to get to know, because I'm sure I dig some of their stuff. Obviously, they're one of the big 8 of thrash metal, and thrash metal is really awesome. I just haven't really gotten a chance to dig into their discography at all. And I should have said this at the beginning, but disclaimer, this list is, some classic bands, some modern bands mixed in, because I like to piss off people in the comments. But anyway, continuing with the modern band trend, the next band is Spiritbox, and this is a case of I just really haven't listened to them at all. When a band gets really that big and they start to transcend metal and go into, fans of other genres, sometimes I just feel like that's not really for me. But I do feel like Spiritbox has a lot more to offer than, say, Sleep Token, because we all know how a lot of metalheads feel about Sleep Token. That stuff's bullshit. It's not metal. So fight me on that, but it's not. But Spiritbox, I feel like, definitely has a lot more metal in them than Sleep Token do, and they're definitely awesome. They're doing a lot of huge tours and stuff. And that kind of thing is really great for the metal scene, showing it for the. But I just feel like, I haven't really gotten into them yet. But yeah, I've heard a few of their songs. She's a pretty cool vocalist. But like I said, I just haven't really got a chance to, because there's a lot of other stuff that I'd much rather listen to, and that's nothing against the musicians or anything. I just like, my death metal, my thrash metal, all that kind of stuff a lot better than I would like, this modern stuff. Same with the next band on the list, Ghost. I know there's a lot of metalheads who like, a certain Ghost album or two, but they're not a huge Ghost fan in general. And that's the case for me. I've heard a few songs here and there that I kind of dig, but other than that, I haven't really gotten into them. And that's just because, again, there's a lot of stuff I'd rather listen to. Why would I, go listen to the new Ghost album when I could be listening to any of the new death metal that's come out, or, discovering more albums that I missed from last year for the videos and stuff like that. It just doesn't really, it's not really worth my time. And so while I might, listen to it if somebody puts it on for me or something, I'm not going to go seek that kind of stuff out on my own because that's just not what I want to listen to, But yeah, nothing against Ghost. They're a pretty cool band. The next band on the list is probably the most surprising one for a lot of people, especially if you know me, because I absolutely love death metal. But the next band on the list is one that I've actually tried to get into a few times, and it just didn't really vibe with me. I don't know, but the next band on the list is Morbid Angel. Just gonna let that one sink in for a second. Me being the death metal guy. Yeah, I've obviously known about Morbid Angel since I got into death metal because they're one of the biggest bands in the genre. And I've actually seen I Am Morbid. I haven't seen, the actual Morbid Angel, but I've seen I Am Morbid, who a lot of people say nowadays are better at performing live than the actual Morbid Angel. And, they weren't bad on stage, and they played some pretty heavy stuff. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Their brand of death metal didn't really draw me in. I know a lot of people got into death metal with Morbid Angel. A lot of people love them. But, I've tried to listen to all the albums people say I should listen to, like Covenant and Altars of Madness, and it just didn't really draw me in like other death metal does. I don't know what to say about it. But they're not a bad band by any means. They definitely, helped invent one of the genres that I love. So no fault for them for that because they're awesome. I don't know. Something about their sound doesn't really draw me in the way other death metal does. I can't really explain it that much. But yeah, maybe I should keep giving it a try. I'm definitely going to give this next band another try because I definitely think that as I'm getting into more of this progressive death metal direction, I'll definitely start to like them more, and that's Blood Incantation. I've talked about this a little bit before. Being from Denver, you might expect that I like Blood Incantation, but I'm really not a big Blood Incantation fan so far. Hidden History of the Human Race, I have it on CD. I've jammed it a little bit, and it's decent. But what I'm really talking about when I say I'm not the biggest fan is Absolute Elsewhere. Everybody was freaking out about that album in 2024 when it came out. And I just didn't really dig it. I don't know. Like I said, I'm going to give them another shot because the progressive death metal thing is, actually vibing with me now. It didn't before. So, yeah. And I think that's my music taste maturing a little bit and being able to recognize, different time signatures and stuff and all this crazy stuff that prog has added into the music. Before, for me, it was just about cool riffs and good vocals. And it wasn't really about anything else. But now I'm starting to realize the intricacies of the music and stuff like that. And so I think that's really cool. And so I'm definitely going to give Blood Incantation another shot because they're an awesome band and a lot of cool stuff for, the Denver scene and also, the international scene. In terms of their brand of death metal, I don't really think there's a whole lot of other bands that sound like them. So yeah, definitely going to give them another shot. But it's not too into them at this point. The next band on the list I talked about a little bit. I don't really like their front man. I think he's kind of pretentious and stuff like that. And that's Limp Bizkit. But I'm also just not a big nu metal guy. Nu metal is another one of those genres where I like a lot, a couple songs here and there. System of a Down, I've gotten into more than other bands. They're pretty cool. But stuff like Korn and Limp Bizkit and stuff like that, and Linkin Park, I haven't really jammed a whole lot of, because it's just not really my thing, and that's all right. As I said, I think Fred Durst is kind of a pretentious guy, but everybody's like that at some point, so can't really fault him for that. Break Stuff is a decent track. Other than that, I haven't really listened to a whole lot of them. But I will maybe give him another shot here. I don't know. There's other metal genres that I'd much rather get into than nu metal. One being on this list coming up. So, I don't know. We'll see. The next one on the list, as I said, I'm not a big prog guy with the first one. The next one is Dream Theater. They're one of the biggest ones in prog. Have been for a while. But like I said, just not a big prog guy. Maybe I'll give him another shot. I actually haven't jammed too much Dream Theater at all, really. I've jammed definitely more Tool and stuff like that than Dream Theater. I think I've only jammed 1 or 2 songs ever. But I'll definitely give him another shot just because now that my music taste has gone beyond, the simple stuff and can appreciate the more intricate music parts and stuff like that. Maybe I'll give him another shot for sure. But yeah, that's an interesting one. Haven't really jammed a whole lot of them. Although I hear their name brought up frequently in metal circles that I'm in. Yeah, so probably give them another shot here soon. The next one, like I said, there's a few, metal genres as a whole I haven't really got into. The next one definitely falls under that. Is Darkthrone. I'm not a big black metal guy. I'd really love to get into it, especially because I love black and death metal. I feel like the fusion of those genres is really awesome. So I'm going to definitely give, Darkthrone, Mayhem, Immortal, I Enslaved, all those pretty big not death metal, black metal bands I shot. I'm definitely going to give them a shot here at some point. I'm probably just going to make a playlist of them and, just listen to it and see what I think. And if I like a band, I'll, obviously tell you guys about it, but also maybe I'll even do that here on YouTube. I'll do a black metal introduction for me, because I haven't really tried to get into it. I've listened to a little bit of Mayhem here and there, and I've seen Wada, who are a North American black metal band. I've seen them live, and they're pretty cool. And there's some that I like here and there, but I'm mostly a black and death metal guy, so we'll see. But I might dig some of it, so we'll see. The next one on the list is maybe a lesser known band than some of the ones I mentioned, but they're still pretty big in their own respective genre. That's Brutal Truth. All I really know about this band is that Danny Lilker from Anthrax and Nuclear Assault was in it. I would say I'm more into grindcore than the other genres, but than I mentioned, but not super into it, and so I haven't really gotten a chance to check out Brutal Truth yet. It doesn't mean I won't like them. I just haven't really got a chance to jam much of their stuff yet. But I do like Napalm Death, and stuff like what are the other ones? Nasum and Rotten Sound is really cool. So I definitely give Brutal Truth a shot at some point here, because I do think it's important to check out all that a genre has to offer before you make a final decision. Some of the new grindcore that's coming out, like Wormrot and Smearing, is super cool. So yeah, I'll definitely give Brutal Truth a shot. I just haven't had a chance yet. The next one's kind of a weird one. As a death metal guy, maybe I should give them a shot. Atrocity, they're a German death metal band. I don't know. I found them pretty early on, and I was looking at their album covers, and I was like, they don't seem like they stayed on a death metal path. And I was looking at their Metal Archives page, and it seems like they went in a symphonic direction, which isn't really for me. I'm going to be perfectly honest. Symphonic death metal is not really something I've gotten a whole lot into. But Atrocity is an interesting case. Like I said, the album covers really don't reflect death metal for me. But maybe I should give them a shot. I don't know. Let me know what you think about Atrocity in the comments. I just threw this one on here because I thought it was interesting. They're not a huge death metal band, but they're definitely bigger than some other bands. So I figured I'd put them on here. The next one's an interesting topic because a lot of people think they're just an industry plant, but a lot of people love their music, and that's Baby Metal. I don't really know what to think about these guys, or I guess I should say these girls, because they're girls. I saw they did a song with Slaughter to Prevail. That was kind of interesting. I listened to that. It didn't really catch me. I don't really know. Maybe I should just give some of their music another shot, but again, it kind of just seems like really, generated to be popular for me. And I try to stay away from that stuff as much as possible. Obviously, as the underground death and thrash metal guy, the stuff that goes mainstream isn't really for me most of the time. But we'll see. Maybe I'll give them another shot here in the future. The next one's interesting because I'm more familiar with this genre than obviously black metal, new metal, or the modern stuff, or prog. I'm more familiar with power metal for sure, but I haven't really listened to this band at all. Blind Guardian. I know they use a lot of Tolkien themes, so maybe I'll get into them here soon, because I do really dig Sabaton and Halloween and a bunch of other power metal. I'm getting my genres mixed up here, guys. Power metal is something that I'd really enjoy if it's done well, and Blind Guardian is pretty popular, so maybe I'll give them a shot here. The next one I've talked about a little bit, second to last one on the list, is Body Snatcher. I have Bleed Abide on CD. Haven't really spun it a whole lot because it didn't really grab me. I feel like they're kind of just one of those beatdown bands that, that kind of just gets lost in the crowd. But if there's Body Snatcher fans in the comments, please let me know what you like about them, because I'll definitely go check it out. I'm always interested to hear what people like about certain bands that I haven't really gotten into or that I don't like, because it's interesting to hear a different perspective. Like I said, they just really grab me. It kind of just gets lost in the crowd for me. Anyway, that's really why I haven't gotten into them more. And then the last one will also be something pretty surprising, I bet, for a lot of people. It's Type O Negative. Never really been a big gothic metal guy. Peter Steele seemed like a pretty cool dude. But other than that, I haven't really jammed. I don't think I've ever jammed Type O Negative, like a track, ever. So maybe that's something I need to do here soon, just to, expand my metal horizons. It doesn't really mean I'll like it, because that's not really something I've really gotten into a whole lot, but maybe just as a metalhead, I need to do that, to honor Peter Steele's memory or something. I'll definitely jam some of this soon, because there's some bands on here, like I said, I'd love to get into, and some genres I'd love to get into, but other than that, these bands I just really haven't vibed with or haven't gotten into. Let me know what you guys think about those bands. If you have any opinions on them that you'd like me to, respond to, or that you have music from them that you want me to check out, definitely leave them in the comments, because I would definitely be doing that. Yeah, this was a remake of an old video. Hopefully this one, was put together better than the last one, because I definitely think it was. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Hope you're all doing well. Have a nice day. See you.